Hello everyone, I'm the Canadian Gaming Penguin. It's been a while. More on that later on in the video. So, on September 17th or 18th, depending on your time zone, the Letter from the Producer Live Part 66 was presented by director and producer Naoki Yoshida, aka Yoshi P. This very long stream consisted of mostly a first look at the changes we can expect to the jobs and job actions with the Endwalker expansion. As such, during this livestream we got our first look at the Endwalker job actions video. If you haven't already watched it, it is available to view on the Final Fantasy XIV YouTube channel and also on the Endwalker expansion special site. On another note, part of the length of the stream was due to the fact that everything was basically said twice, as there was a live English interpretation. With that said, I won't be going through what we learned about the jobs, job actions, and role changes. Instead, I will have a list on screen that notes the timestamps of when Yoshi P discussed each of the roles, jobs, etc. So if you are curious to learn of these things, you can watch them on the livestream. Alternatively, the Letter from the Producer Live Part 66 Digest, aka Summary, is available and has been for about a week now. I will have a link to this in the description below. Alternatively, you can find it through the lodestone itself. While this digest will not include all the details that were said in Japanese and then translated into English, it does cover all the basic important parts. Anyways, since we do have the digest here, I will be reviewing this rather than summarizing the livestream, as that was nearly a month ago now. So once you've made your way all the way past all the changes to the roles and job actions, you eventually end up here to the battle adjustments. There will be adjustments to the Raid Finder matching for Savage duties, in that parties will include one Pure Healer, so a White Mage or Astrologian, and one Barrier Healer, a Scholar or Sage. The Party Finder will also have updates in that the healer category will be split between Pure and Barrier Healers. There will be a new option for players who have not yet completed the weekly reward. And search results will no longer include parties you cannot join due to the 1 player per job requirement. Duty reward adjustments to trials, specifically with weapon drops, will now drop a weapon coffer in addition to the original weapon reward, meaning it would be easier for weapons to be obtained, especially for alternate jobs. Woot! Additionally, the 4th turn of high-end raids released up through the 3.x series will now drop a weapon coffer in addition to the original weapon reward. Specifically, this applies to Coils of Bahamut Savage, and Alexander Savage. And high-end raids released up through the 4.x series will now drop gear and accessories in the form of coffers, as in the Eden Savage. Specifically, this applies to Coils of Bahamut and Coils of Bahamut Savage, accessories excluded, Alexander Savage, and Omega Savage. Other battle adjustments that we can see is that conditional enhancements can now be separated as a new separate category in the HUD layout, as demonstrated in this slide. The ground targeting functionality has been improved, and there will be a setting added to the character configuration menu to apply this. Yoshi P took the time to demonstrate this, and I can say I am looking forward to this feature, even though I don't play with a controller. This change will mostly help those that do play with a controller. And as listed in the digest, this portion of the video occurs around the 4-hour mark. And if you do wish to see the demonstration by Yoshi P, that's around the time where you would find that demonstration. Another quality of life change is that the target that a party member is attacking, reviving, etc. will now be displayed in the party members list, as demonstrated on the side. We can see as the healer, for example, is casting glare on the target C. In the second image, we can see that the healer is reviving the party member 2. In this case, this is the tank. Health bars will be displayed even when incapacitated. I'm not sure why this has been changed, but I suppose it's probably helpful for alliance raids or raids in general or something. If you got any ideas, feel free to share them. Anyways, another somewhat surprising change but made sense when explained is that the Unreal Trials will be temporarily removed and reintroduced in patch 6.1. Basically, the reason is for trying to balance the fights with the new job actions and changes, etc., which requires more testing and whatnot, so it makes sense to remove them temporarily until such time as they are able to make all the necessary adjustments. So if you haven't done the Unreal trial yet, that is currently available, that is, you may want to give it a go before Endwalker is released. That said, I have yet to actually complete an Unreal trial. I didn't get to attempt the last one, and I haven't even bothered to try with the current one. I may have to do that if I have time. Belt removal. So we already knew that the belts were being removed as before, and Yoshida went over the details with, more again about belts, aka the planned removal of them. So we were given additional information of what we can do with belts now and what we can do with the belts later. So we see here, available only before patch 6.0 and then available after patch 6.0. The difference is there. Additionally, we were told that a ring would be a replacement as a substitute to the speed belt that can be obtained in Eureka. I didn't even know this existed, so that was interesting. Also mentioning belts, we have more details found on the lodestone posted September 21st. It's kind of a bigger summary of everything that we did and gives you more information about this. I will have the link to this in the description below. Alternatively, you can find it on the lodestone. Downscaling values. This is also something we already knew and we learned back in the Digital Fan Festival. Basically, everything will be adjusted, well, combat-related things more specifically, such as gear attributes from levels 50 to 80 will be reduced, overall HP and damage values will be reduced, potency of meals, medicine, and materia will also be reduced, and to maintain balance, adjustments will be made to various systems. We will also see an enhanced echo effect applied to undersized parties, which will allow, or should hopefully allow, players to farm the various old content for whatever reason. So this will hopefully not affect farming groups negatively. That said, you may still want to try to farm all those different mounts from the extreme trials before Endwalker's released, and just in case it is on the difficult side. However, I know that Square Enix understands that it's an important factor of the game community, so I do think that the echo, enhanced echo specifically, will be sufficient enough, although you never know, so... Anyways, an interesting change that has also been made is that the experience earned from standard dungeon enemies will now only be earned from dungeon bosses, which surprised me. This is the next thing that surprised me also, high quality item removal. Yeah. The idea behind this is that it's to help reduce overall inventory bloat among a few other things. Before you panic too much, let me get into more details about this, as we were given additional information on the lodestone about a week ago. But first, looking at these two slides, as we can see the changes that will no longer be available, rather, items no longer available as high quality, gathered items, enemy drops, token and exchange materials, non-craftable materials obtained from certain content, and that they will still be high quality from 6.0 but will not increase crafting quality nor provide bonuses upon delivery. So these items cannot be traded or sold via the market board but can be reduced to normal quality for these purposes. And if you haven't done that before, if you just right click on them, you can, or select them, you can reduce to normal or something like that is one of the menu options if you have a high quality gathered item. Anyways, so after 6.0, items still available as high quality will be crafted items and including intermediary materials and gear. This will remain functionality unchanged in 6.0. Thus, actions and attributes that affected high quality yields when gathering will be adjusted, aka you'll get more rather than get higher quality. Yay? Also, quests, challenge log entries, and achievements requiring high quality, I keep saying HQ, requiring high quality items will be adjusted. So this also applies to Grand Company turn-ins. Obviously you won't get bonus seals, etc. from gathered materials, but perhaps still with crafting. Obviously, we won't know until the change is implemented and or more details are given about this. We will also have more information in the next live letter, which is to take place in early November. Okay, now let's look at the additional information we were given on the lodestone. So here we have the high quality information, and it's basically summarizing the same thing from that. Yeah, so I will also have this linked in the description below as well. We also learned that the teleportation fees will be recalculated for 6.0, meaning teleportation to some locations will be more costly. Originally, it was capped at 999 gil, but that cap has now been removed, so you will see things that cost way more than 1,000 gil. As you can see, as an example here. Obviously, the cost of the teleporting. Obviously, the cost of teleporting will depend on where you are currently located in the world. Anyways, so partly this change is because there needs to be some way for gil to be spent in the game apart from vendors, and Yoshi P went into more details about this, and it's also summarized in the digests. So I will read it, as you can see, starting here. Some of you may be wondering why teleportation fees are in place to begin with, so we'd like to explain why we have this feature. In MMORPGs, systems such as teleportation fees are referred to as sinks. Without a gil sink, the players will continue to obtain gil as they play the game, and the player community will continue to amass more and more gil, causing prices in the market board to inflate. As such, it's important for the game to remove gil from the economy, and teleportation fees are one such feature that does this. We hope that you'll understand that this is critical in maintaining a healthy player economy in Final Fantasy XIV." End quote. One thing that I noticed when I first started playing the game, there was actual lore reasons for a teleportation fee too. It costs money to maintain those aetherites, you know. And it's also mentioned in this digest as well. Anyways, to reduce teleportation costs, you can always set favored destinations. Up to 3 locations can be selected. Additionally, if you use the 2-factor authentication system, an additional location can be favored, and that cost will be 0 gil. I currently have mine set up to be Yulmore, as that is a location that usually costs me the most, and I frequently visit it. Usually from Eorzea, so that's like 999 gil every single time otherwise. Anyways, the digest mentions this along with, quote, "We are also planning to add a new feature that will be able to specify a cost threshold where aetherite tickets will be automatically used if the teleportation fee is higher than the threshold." End quote. So that'll be handy, so if you have, say, it's over 500 gil, we will automatically use an aetherite ticket rather than 500 gil. Or more than 500 gil. Anyway. Also cool is that the Aethernet shard, or Aethernet UI, is going to be updated, as you can see in this slide. We will have a map, and the locations for the Aethernet shards will be listed, and also have the map available. You can either click on the map itself, so if I happen to click there, which is, I'm pretty sure, the Gladiators Guild Aetherite shard, well, let's go with the example that they have here, the Weavers Guild. So if I either clicked here or here, it would teleport me there to the Weavers Guild directly. So you have obviously the list option or the clicking on the map. And if you're like me, before this change takes place, I load up the map, look for the Aethernet chart, and then I teleport to it once I find it on the list. Which is a very big pain in the butt. But anyway, now it'll be so much better. Yay! Anyway, so miscellaneous changes that we have is also partly addressing the server congestion. Progress towards Fisher's intuition will remain even after logging out. That is a big change. And mentioning server congestion, a data center travel system is scheduled for implementation after patch 6.0x, rather than before 6.0 as was originally planned. As the digest says, quote, "As we must prioritize addressing further levels of congestion in patch 6.0, data center travel will be delayed until after 6.0x. We have seen many of you looking forward to playing with friends and other data centers, and we consider all sorts of possibilities to try and implement the feature as originally planned. However, we found that there was a high risk of the feature causing server outages, and that recovering from those outages could require long periods of time. As such, we decided against implementing data center travel in 6.0, and we apologize for this delay. On the other hand, the implementation of the Oceania data center has been proceeding as planned, so please rest assured regarding that." End quote. And so yeah, so if you were planning to play with your friends on a different data center, unfortunately that is not going to happen. But anyway, that was it for the Letter from the Brewster Live Part 66. In other Final Fantasy XIV news, we have updates to the fan kit, which includes new desktop wallpapers, smartphone wallpapers, and the mount and minion icons has been updated to patch 5.5. And finally, the Letter from the Brewster Live Part 67 will be on Friday, November 5th, 2021, or November 6th, depending on your time zone. During this live letter, we will learn more about the updates to crafting and gathering, system-related adjustments, and the new PvP. Other announcements during the live letter Part 66 were mostly about merchandise, and you can kind of get a glean of some of the merchandise on the lodestone. Here we have the creepy-looking doll, Doll Thief Dream Yoshida. I'm sorry, the doll freaks me out. Anyway, we also have some of these. This vinyl is actually pretty cool. And these little acrylic stands. We have the Sage and the Reaper pins. And we also have these shoulder massage sticks. Now, there's a fat cat and a the Great Serpent of Ronka. I totally want one of these, but I don't need it. Anyways, we also have the Perfect Alexander, whatever. And you can see there's the pre-order new merchandise and whatever, etc. on here. And you can see that the special site has been updated with the trailer showcasing new job actions, including for Sage and Reaper, as well as new artwork, and you can visit the special site. And if we look here, we have this special page here, learn more about the Sage, the Reaper, and this should be the job actions trailer or video. As you can see, it is almost 19 minutes long. So yeah, that's also one of the reasons why the live stream is that long. Anyways, we also have some other optional items and stuff, and this is now in the past because this hasn't already occurred. You can see the digest is up and blah blah blah. Anyways. There was also a reminder that the Final Fantasy XIV crossover event with Final Fantasy XV is currently underway, and it is still currently underway, and it will continue on until October 18th, 2021, so you have exactly 8 days, actually less than 8 days, because you need to note the time zone. And I'm going to emphasize that, note the time zone. You must be done and gotten everything before the time changes. So make sure you pay attention to the time zone. Anyways, so if you've not yet completed the event, don't forget to do it, and don't forget also the various items that you can obtain as part of the event. So there's the items that you can exchange from the Fate itself from the event, for the Orchestrion rolls. I think that's all it is for the Orchestrion rolls. And then also the items for MGP found in the Matterville Gold Saucer. And the Final Fantasy XIV and Dragon Quest X collaboration event will be returning on Tuesday, October 19th, and will continue on until November 11th, 2021. And that is it for Final Fantasy XIV related news that I have. It only took me forever and a half to get it out. If you're still watching this video at this point, thank you. Or listening, for that matter, too. Thank you. Now, to explain why it has taken me forever and a half to get this video out. Early September, I started a new job, and this job has been rather demanding physically for me. I'm not used to standing on my feet for nearly 8 hours straight, nor walking on hard surfaces, cement mostly, which is also really hard on my feet. Thus, when I've been getting home, I've been exhausted and in great deal of pain, particularly my feet. partly also because I have to wear steel-toed shoes, and if you've ever worn those, you'll know that they're not exactly comfortable. I am getting adjusted to my job now, and it isn't as bad as it was, but I am still fairly tired by the time I get home. And with temperatures dropping, it may be a little easier for me as I don't do well in heat anymore. But I also don't know how well I do in cold either, so we'll find out this week because the temperatures aren't going to be all that high, but not quite winter temperatures yet. Anyways, whether or not you've looked at the discussion page on my channel, I've been trying to keep some updates there. I don't really use my Twitter account for anything other than sharing videos, and likewise with my Facebook page, although I am on Facebook often. Thus, I use the discussion page for updates to my channel. And now that I have this video out, or I will once I'm done editing it, I will be working on the Grand Company Chocobo video that I had hoped to have been out weeks ago. I do have the script done for it, I just need to record both audio and any clips that I want to use, and then edit it down, and the editing process may take quite some time. That said, I will try to keep Final Fantasy XIV news videos out, and or Final Fantasy XIV event videos out. Additionally, obviously at this point, since I haven't done anything with it for months now, the Journey to Endwalker series is no longer going to continue unless there is interest in it. I don't think I can get from Mid of Realm Reborn to the end of Shadowbringers before the release of Endwalker, because Endwalker is out next month. I think the only way I could is if I had a video out every 2 days or like every single day, which is neither realistic for me to do nor for you guys to watch. Between working, recording, and editing, I'd burn myself out, and I don't think anyone would end up watching the videos because that'd be at least an hour video every 2 days or every day, which is a lot to ask anyone to do. I'm still interested in doing a full playthrough from A Realm Reborn to, well, the end of Endwalker, again, if there's interest in that, so it is possible I may continue the series even if it means not being done Shadowbringers before Endwalker is out. That would also give people time to play through Endwalker themselves and not be introduced to spoilers immediately, which I would try very hard to not reveal anyways. That said, I ask you, is there something Final Fantasy XIV related that you'd like to know about? Perhaps I can do something smaller while I work on the Chocobo video. Alternatively, I could do some Stardew Valley I could do some Stardew Valley videos in the meantime, but I would rather keep my focus on Final Fantasy XIV for now. I do eventually plan on returning to Stardew, but that might not be until sometime after Endwalker is out. Probably not until December. Maybe. One more thing related to my channel. The channel is now more than 150 subscribers. Wow. It wasn't that long ago that the channel had gotten past 100 subscribers. Thus, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for subscribing and your continued support through watching my videos, and also through any comments, likes, etc. that you've left on my videos. Thank you. Mentioning comments, I've noticed that some comments have been disappearing on my videos. If you see a comment of yours disappear, it's likely not because I've removed it. YouTube has been having issues where comments are detected as being spam, even though they're not. Thus, the false positive spam comments are automatically removed. This said, there are only a few reasons that it will remove comments directly, and those are if they are inappropriate, are spam, share unsaved links, or for some random other reason. Thus, if your comment happens to disappear, it's not likely because of me. I know that at least 2 of the comments that disappeared were definitely not spam, so unless the commenters themselves removed them, it kind of annoys me about those 2 comments too because they were really nice ones. Anyways, that is all I have to say for this video, and thank you for listening and or watching.